Chapter 107. A small destruction of the 5 servants. Metropolis City. Most of the people hadn't had the chance to leave the city yet. At this moment, the shock of the whole city had calmed down, and the people all looked up at that image in the sky. Dongfang Shoushai is going to wipe out Gu Hai. What's going to happen? Mr. Gu is going to be finished. Countless people were anxious for a while. Not long ago, when the great killing sage attacked the city and the 5 million divine blood army struck, it was Gu Hai who stalled the time, allowing the entire city to be saved in the end. And the people were grateful to Gu Hai. Just now, when Emperor Shu and the Great Brightness King God fought, the aftermath shook. It was Ancient Sea who mobilized a great formation, mitigating the shock for the people and allowing many of them to save their lives. And the countless people naturally remembered it in their hearts. Seeing Gu Hai in danger, they were naturally anxious. In the city, Bat Ancestor, King Shikong, Chong Sheng, Chong Ming, all the elders of the Chong family, Qin Zibai and the others were also anxious for a while because the Great Killing Palace could not get in at all, and the treasures were going to be snatched away, allowing Mr. Dongfang to wreak havoc inside. Your Majesty, this Dongfang Shoushai, who came to our Great Yuan, obviously doesn't have a good heart either, Mo Yaika said with a slight frown. Great Emperor Shu's eyes narrowed slightly as he took a deep breath. Whew. Great Emperor Shu's figure shifted and once again arrived at the center of the cloud pillar leading to the Divine Palace. This is the Great Yuan's. It's all one's own. When is it the turn of outsiders to divide up what's mine? After plotting for so long, it's going to end up being stolen by Mr. Dongfang. Great Emperor Shu naturally couldn't swallow this breath. To the center of the clouds, in accordance with what Mo Yaika said earlier, to find that section of the void that seems to be virtual unreal, and took out the blood prison knife with his hand and blasted it with all his might. Blood prison knife out. Suddenly erupted billions of bloodlight. An instant will be the metropolis of the 4 sides of the city irradiated bright. Boom. A monstrous sound was heard, forming a huge storm that swept in all directions. The entire city shook once again. Great Emperor Shu's eyes narrowed slightly. It didn't cut through, however, finally touching the Divine Palace's barriers, having a solid entity for himself to crash into. It was better than not being able to touch anything at all. Break for me. Great Emperor Shu once again slashed down with all his might. Boom. The sky was all shaken violently, and a visible shockwave was created outside of that great killing imperial palace. Not enough. Great Emperor Shu's eyes narrowed slightly. Taking a deep breath, Great Emperor Shu suddenly opened his mouth and said, "The people of the world of the Great Yuan, I, Shu, want to grow the power of the Great Yuan, to win strongly over the Great Yuan, and to defend the Great Yuan's well-being for all eternity. Today, I urgently need the people of the world to lend me a hand. Please raise your right hand and lend me strength. I need your strength." Boom. High in the sky, the sea of Che-fortune clouds steeply churned. Above the sea of Cheluk clouds, the gigantic golden dragon of Cheluk steeply stood up. Ong tilde tilde. The golden dragon roared, and with a boom, Emperor Shu's voice instantly traveled to the ears of all the subjects of Daiwan. In an instant, nearly all of the people of the nearly 200 cities of Great Yuan heard the voice of Great Emperor Shu. His Majesty's voice. His Majesty needs the help of an arm from us. Quickly, raise your right hand. As the people raised their hands, a wave of power roared up into the sky towards the metropolis city's Cheyun Sea. It was seen that in the 4 directions of the Cheluk Cloud Sea, a white energy, as if 10,000 streams were converging on the sea, rushed straight towards the Cheluk Golden Dragon. The Golden Dragon of Cheluk rushed out of the sea of Cheluk clouds with a roar and came towards Great Emperor Shu. On. The Golden Dragon roared hideously, leading an endless amount of power as it rushed towards Great Emperor Shu. Boom. The Golden Dragon rushed into Great Emperor Shu with a roar. and that huge figure, strangely fused with Great Emperor Shu. At the same time, it pulled the rolling power and rushed straight into the Shu Great Emperor's body. Shu Dadi's body suddenly swelled up, the power piled up around his body, and the bulging surroundings kept setting off monstrous storms. The surrounding body was like a round of sun. The power rushed to the sky, carrying a monstrous momentum. The aura was huge, suppressing the people below who had just borrowed the power for a moment and couldn't breathe in general. Raising his head, Emperor Shu's eyes blossomed with the light of the blazing sun as he looked towards the place of the barrier. Give it to me. Break. Tilde 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 it. Great Emperor Shu blasted his fist towards the ledge. In the middle of the great killing palace, Long Wenyu was covered in blood, crying in fear and sadness. Gu Hai's entire body was covered in frost, and he was also vomiting blood. The 4 Eastern servants maneuvered the blue dragon and blasted away Ice G's ice ball, which blew up and flew away, seemingly also seriously injured. The Enshengren was however straddling the center of the crowd, and in his withered palm at the moment, he was holding the head of a grasping Eastern servant. It was you just now. Were you the one who wanted to kill my daughter? In the voice of the unborn, there was an aftershock of trembling. The morose coldness made one's scalp go numb. That servant's head was stuck by the unliving man, but he was steeped in fear. Quickly release me. If you dare to hurt me, the original body will not let you go. That Eastern servant said in shock and anger. HMPH. You are a Shoshai, Northern Heishuji of the Great Qian Dynasty. No. Northern Underworld Longevity Master is a white-robed longevity master like us, cultivating life. You, this means of yours, is death. You're a black-robed life master. No, half black, half white. Life and death at the same time. Impossible. You're asking for death. A few other Eastern servants exclaimed. Let me ask you, were you the one who wanted to kill my daughter? The unliving man, however, had an extremely chilling voice as he looked at the head of the Oriental servant in his palm. You guys are still not quick enough to save me. That Oriental servant, who was stuck by the unliving man, shrieked. Quickly save the Eastern 10. Under the Jade Rui's manipulation, the 4 blue dragons suddenly rushed towards the unliving man in a roar. The Shoshai, who was stuck, even waved his hand, and a blue talisman appeared in his hand abruptly, as if he was going to cast a spell on the Enshengren. HMPH. If you don't say it, that's it, the Enshengren said in an icy tone. As he spoke, the palm that was as thin as a withered bone twisted violently. Boom. The head of the Eastern 10 in his hand was twisted off with a loud bang, but his body exploded out. The white robe tore to shreds, revealing the unbelievable number 10 head. Aengi, 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 Ong. The other 4 Eastern servants' faces changed, but the blue dragon had already rushed in front of the unliving man. The Enshengren is out a cold snort and threw out the head of the 10 in his hand violently. As he threw it, black chain in his palm poured into it. Who are you? However, it was seen that under the nourishment of the black chair, number 10's head abruptly skyrocketed up, transforming into a gigantic evil ghost head that was hideous and incomparable. Black-robed evil art, ghost head god. The faces of the crowd of Eastern servants changed. Gargle, gargle, gargle. The huge evil ghost head roared as it abruptly opened its mouth. Q long. The 4 Eastern servants, along with their blue dragons, were all swallowed into the mouth by the ghost head. No, no, help, the main body. No. The 4 Eastern servants screamed in shock. Gulp, 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 gulp. The evil demon head's mouth kept chewing for a while, and all of a sudden, the 4 Oriental servants were all eaten in the twinkling of an eye. The 4 blue dragons were also all eaten clean. Boom. After eating everything clean, the evil ghost head burst open abruptly and turned into a puff of black smoke. Not far away, Bingji stared with wide eyes. The 5 Eastern servants, that she couldn't even block just now were all destroyed by this black and white robed man with a flip of his hand. All destroyed. In the distance, the eastern body also discovered the anomaly and steeply struck out with a palm. Boom! Instantly, the Yi Divine Needle wrapped in the palm of the skeleton exploded. The Yi Divine Needle was instantly blown away. Humph! Count yourself lucky, the Eastern Essence said with a gloomy face. Theft! Yi Divine Needle fell to the ground, and a mouthful of blood sprayed out. Only, at this moment, Yi Divine Needle's hair was white and seemed to have aged countless times, and his body was even more parched to the extreme, as if he was skin and bones. Cough, cough, cough. Yi Divine Needle looked at the eastern body with a grimace on his face. At the same time, he probed his hand and took out several pills and swallowed them into his mouth. Buzz! Yi Divine Needle's body was slowly recovering, but, with a severely injured body, it wasn't something that could be good for a while. The Eastern Essence, however, was staring at the unsurpassed man with a deadly stare. Boom! Behind the Eastern Essence, rolling white mist steeply emerged, and within the white mist, a single skeletal palm emerged, with an eerie chill, charging straight at the Unshengren. Who are you? The 8 longevity masters in the world. It seems that there is no you. The Eastern Essence said in a chilling voice. At this moment, the unliving person was looking towards Longwen. When you, the person who injured you just now, has been killed by me. The unliving man's voice carried a hint of ingratiation. The Enshengren, who was just shaped like a demon, turned his eyes and spoke to Longwen in a fine voice. Looking at the injured Bingji, her eyes widened. When you, he's the unliving man, your father, Guhai said to Longwen. The weeping Longwen bit her lips, and with tears in her eyes, she looked at the Unshengren. He's not my father. I don't have such a father. Why did you come to save me? Wouldn't it be better to let me die? Woo! Longwen suddenly cried softly. Seeing the unsuspecting person, he unconsciously thought of his mother and Longwanching again, and thought that the 2 people who were the best to him all died because of him. Longwen was suddenly saddened. Unshengren's figure stiffened, looking at Longwen grief-stricken expression, but for a moment he did not know how to comfort. His heart was also overwhelmed with sadness. Guhai glanced at the distant Eastern Essence that was hitting the flying leaf Divine Needle. Speaking once again, he said, on Wenyu's side, let me comfort her. That Eastern Essence over there, that's him. Wenyu's injuries that are covered in blood are all from him. Just now, if we didn't strike in time, Wenyu might. You be careful. The unborn took a deep breath, looked at Guhai and nodded. He himself was an incompetent father, and for a moment, he really didn't know how to face Longwen. However, it was finally clear who had injured his daughter like this. Moreover, if it wasn't for Guhai's timely intervention, Wenyu would have been killed. Turning his head, the unsuspecting person looked at Mr. Dongfang. The rolling black mist behind him once again surged, and in the black mist, the sound of billions of ghosts crying was even more eerie and incomparable. 2 great life masters, each behind the rolling black fog and white fog surged out. A ghost cry, a skeleton hand. Separated by a distance, they coldly stared at each other. It's you. Just now, you wanted to kill my daughter. The unborn's tone was icy cold. It carried a monstrous rage.